right, welcome back. Finally, we are here. I had promised you that you're going to have a discussion around mental health and especially men's mental health and their resilience when it comes to matters, talking about how they feel, what is affecting them, and how the society is taking this. And in studio, I am joined by a lady and a gentleman who are going to help us uh, break this down, help us understand why is this conversation important, is there a need to the society, how is this affecting our day-to-day life, how is this affecting our businesses. So before I get to introducing them, I see it's best fit for them to introduce themselves. I'll begin with the ladies first. Sue, kindly.
Hi, good morning. My name is Susan Mwangi. I'm a mental health champion.
Mhm. All right. Okay.
Thank you for having me. My name is Matthew Weroletu. I'm a passionate mental health champion and creating safer spaces in our society for our community to have a safer environment to speak about mental health.
All right. Before we got live, I was just asking, what inspired you to come up with this organization, or what inspired you to see that okay, we need to do this? What was the inspiration behind coming up with this organization? Let me begin with this one.
Okay, in our community, we identified the gap. We saw there was a need for a safe space for safe spaces, and that's when we started to have some meetings, and then it developed to cafes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, we started this because we saw people are struggling silently. People don't have a platform where they can come and speak out about their mental health issues. So we decided to create a platform where people are safe to speak and get counseled and get help and support from us. So it's a self motivation and motivation from what I'm seeing people struggling with mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me just begin with this controversial this idea or belief. In the past, when someone was talking about mental health, for example, let's take an example in a family setup where your mom amekukasirisha and then you una retaliate, like you now want to show your mom that you know what, mom, you can't do this to me, and then you're like, I'm not going to eat, and then at that point ungechapwa, you know, like why are you not eating? You could eat by force, and that I think it's some sort of hard therapy. So it raised people who are more resilient. Someone will be facing challenges in life, like someone will go angry, but someone is hopeful that okay, at the end of it, I will get this. But if we see this current generation, the generation of mommy, daddy, don't do that. You know, a generation where the government is against you beating your own child. We've seen a generation where something minor, someone and a breakdown. So, what do you think about this shift from hard therapy to the soft therapy? I'll begin with you.
Okay. I think we need to engage the youth in having the resilience. It's a shift, it's a hard shift, but going somewhere and talking about what you're going through in the right way, like you know how to approach things in the right way. The resilience is a right approach where people get to learn how they can do things in a positive way, not in a negative way.
Mm-hmm. All right. How do you take this shift?
Okay, initially, traditionally, we were tulionyeshwa kusuppress our emotions, so we were not expressing ourselves. Na kuponga na ile ati so tuligroup tukiwa hardcore. So but this generation, they know how to open up, they know how to talk about how they feel, they know how to express themselves. So tumeona difference in mental health. Our improve, like us tulikuwa tuna suppress emotions, hatukuanga nini open sana kama hawa wasai.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge milestone.
We are seeing a shift because if we look at the current generation, when let's take an example, someone saying that they have boundaries. These days, people talk a lot about, you will hear conversations about being nonchalant, being toxic, being manipulative. And when you come to look at, if you dig deeper, why this person is saying this, for example, when it comes to men, someone who has really known themselves, known that if I do this, this is going to trigger my emotions. So if I'm dealing with someone who is not emotionally mature, that person may tend to think that I am nonchalant. I'm not showing any emotions. So at some point, do you think that this is raising a generation that is disconnected from reality?
Yeah, it also shows that maybe some like you're getting into the person's ways of expression kwa sababu
Mhm.
okay, because sisi kama tumejua this person is so toxic,
Mhm.
but you cannot match the energy. Wewe utaki toxic, yeye ni toxic.
Mhm.
So it's about how to understand each and everyone's emotions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. So, Matthew, let me get it from a man's perspective. Most of the time, people who are labeled as toxic are men. And I'm not a buyer of that narrative because I tend to be, I've dealt with people who have mastered themselves, people who have, known themselves as men. And a lot of times is the ladies who fail to do the, let me call it growing up mentally, the growing up mentally thing. So from where you sit, why do you think, in a man's perspective, is this really being manipulative? Is this really being toxic, or what is it from a man's perspective?
I don't think we are toxic as men. Maybe it's the way the society carries people, because men tend to be strong. They are strong, but they don't have the eloquency to tell people how they feel. So they tend to be strong. They don't want to be labeled as manipulative or toxic. They just want to be strong, and in everything they do, they want to show people that they are strong. But in behind, there are things they are struggling with. But men really don't show that toxicity.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So I think it's just for lack of words to express themselves.
yeah, sure.
All right, now that we're talking about men being strong, uh, it is believed that men tend not to talk about their mental health for fear of being labeled weak. How do you demystify this, especially when talking to the men, encouraging them to, embrace mental health talks?
What I can tell my fellow men is it's good to talk whenever you are struggling with something. Look for someone to talk to. It's good to express yourself. It's okay not to be okay. Don't encourage yourself that you are strong, that you can handle things alone. Go speak to someone and you can get help easily. Because talking, you will get help, but keeping silence, you won't get that help.
How do you know that the talk has made the fruits, or the talk is effective?
The talk is effective because I happen to have a friend who was going through some depression, and through these cafes, he has been attending our safe space cafes, and I've seen gradual change in that. He has gone back to his business, and he's even active in our programs where he always says, I want to speak about this, I want to speak about that. So I've seen a change from where he was till now. It's a scale of 10.
Mhm.
Yeah,
All right, a scale of 1 to
10.
10, it's
Yeah,
10.
10.
All right, so from where you sit, how do you handle this feeling of men? If a man talks, that is going to make them weak, especially when it comes to talking to ladies, because they say that a lady atakusoothe, atakubembeleza, like Delilah Samson kind of thing. So atakubembeleza, you become vulnerable, and then after some time, she uses your vulnerability against you. So how do you handle such beliefs?
Okay. And like in our cafe, we have the mixed gender. We have men and women. And so far, we have seen men change because initially they were not opening up. Women were talking about the experiences, anything that is suppressing their emotions. They were talking about everything, but men were holding back. But by time men started opening up, started, or they saw that, hey, if women can talk about these things openly, so we can do it. We can do it also. In our cafes, we have seen gradually the people are changing. Men are talking, they're opening up and talking about their problems, unlike there before. Yeah.
All right. So it is something that you have a preference. What does someone do when they're not someone who talks? You know, not everyone talks. Even for ladies, there are ladies who don't talk about their problems. So how do you handle such situations?
So after the cafes, we say if you have a problem that you cannot share with us here, so you can come maybe after the session, you can approach me or Matthew or the other champions, then we can talk about it. Or rather, if you're not comfortable with me or Matthew, then you can use the maybe you can use other channels. Like we have psychologists, we have facilities that you can approach if you're not comfortable talking to us. Yes.
I'm talking about a situation where something else that I can do apart from talking, because they say that connection is the opposite of addiction. If someone feels disconnected from the world, that person may tend to get to other addictions, like, excluding themselves, or, putting themselves aside away from others, getting into drugs, getting into, bad habits. So if someone is not someone who is able to connect, we're talking about someone who is, what is the name? Someone who is not outgoing, someone who is into themselves, they enjoy their own company and all that. This person will not be comfortable talking to you. This person will not be comfortable talking to a therapist. This person will not be comfortable in a group, talking in a group. So, such a person, how do you encourage that person to, if that person is depressed, how do you get that person out of depression?
Sometimes we have activities outside talking. So we take walks. There is soccer, we play soccer. There is we have activities in the community like cleanups. So we have so many activities. If you're not comfortable talking to us, maybe in the activities, during the activities, we also have artists, the mural drawings. So in between, you'll find somewhere you're comfortable with. Yes.
All right. Matthew, coming back to you from okay. If I say from a man's perspective, it's getting weird, but from where you see it as a man, what are the step by step? Because our viewer back at home, maybe they may not have a chance to get to talk to people, get to the barazas, or get to interact with others. Maybe they're busy at work or something. So, what are the steps to step uh, measures or procedures that a man can take? Because for ladies it's different. I will call my mom, rant and all that, but for a man, if that person is staying alone, how would you advise someone to move ahead in order to overcome the baggage they're having?
As I said earlier, men they do talk if they find a platform where they can speak. So it's not hard for men not to talk. So what they do, we have platforms. If you can't speak to us, you can speak to someone who you can see. There is a call number where you can call somebody and you can talk freely if you don't want to talk to a psychiatrist or anyone. Also, we have sessions whereby we separate men from women because the men don't really like talking where women are, because maybe I might talk and you might take my stories to others. So we tend to separate them from the women where they'll speak out. And they do speak actually. When men are together, they do speak. So I can encourage men, stop staying with your problems alone. Talk to a friend. It's good to speak to a friend. Get somebody who can help you. Don't stay quiet, because when you stay quiet, things get worse. And when things get worse, that's depression, that's mental illness. We don't want mental health to escalate to mental illness. Yeah.
Let's get this more real. I will ask you a question. When was the last time you talked to your father, uncle, and told them that you love them?
It's been long. Maybe I usually don't talk to my dad about my things. we men tend to talk more to their mothers more than their daddies. But through text, I'm very comfortable speaking to my dad and telling him I love you, dad, via text, but not via face
Why?
to face. Okay, maybe it's fear, or we don't have that courage to speak to our daddies.
All right. Just hold on there. Let me get back to this. When was the last time you called your father or uncle or the male figure in your life telling them that you love them?
Yeah. You know, as ladies, we are daddy's girls. So we frequently talk to fathers mostly. Yes.
All right. So it's frequent.
Yeah.
Do you think this is the reason why men are having problem? Because of upbringing problem. I'll take an example of myself. Anytime my dad calls, he will tell me, you know what, daughter, I love you, have a good day. When I say, dad, I love you, he'll say, I love you back. But when my brother says, dad, I love you, he'll be like, what is your problem? Do you think this is the reason why conversations around how well we are? Because from having being comfortable telling your father that you know what, dad, I appreciate you, I love you, and I know that you're working hard and I love what you're doing. Because do you think that when we would be having that, it would change the way men interact among themselves?
Yes, when we change that perspective of like we should talk to our daddies and tell them what we need or what is disturbing us, it will create room for maybe supportive backgrounds from our parents. So I will tell people, our dear men, to be courageous. Try talk to your daddy. It doesn't. Your daddy won't kill you or beat you because you're telling him I'm suffering from this and that. So speaking out will really help. Just allow yourself just to speak freely to your daddy, and that's it. That's how conversation starts. If you start speaking and your daddy is telling you, yeah, you told me about this, I'm gonna support you with this. What are you struggling with? I can help you with this. I can connect you to someone or connect you to people who can help. Yeah.
All right. So how do you think this would change how we view speaking out?
So maybe the issue is maybe wazazi wa kitambo, they were not used to being told I love you mostly. Because even if I tell my dad, mzae jua tu mimi nakupenda, sema anacheka tu na anakata simu. So they were not used to being told they were loved. And they were not really loved. So tuna shift tu pole pole tu tukiwaambianga tu pole pole. Yeah. Kama ni happy Father's Day, unamwish happy Father's Day. You're the awesome dad that I know you. And tutaenda tu tukichange pole pole.
I talk to Mel a lot, and some say that sometimes their mental problem is treated as women's mental problem. In this sense, a man would want to feel loved, would want to feel appreciated, would want to feel respected, would want to feel encouraged because they are carrying most weight or the bigger burden. So when this thing lack in his life, he will feel alone, he will feel used. So in the process, someone anaanza kujirudi, anaanza get back to themselves, thinking that if I don't offer this, I won't get this. So it's like they're buying love or they're buying affection, and that gets them depressed. But for ladies, how their mental health works, for ladies, they just want, they just, like the way poets say that a damsel in distress. They're just there. If you give a lady a little care, they're okay. The mental health is gone. Like, for example, I can use an example of myself. I can be depressed, but anytime I get a confirmed you have received, I'm okay. But for a man, he may be depressed, but getting confirmed you have received may not solve his problem. So what do you think about this situation where men's mental health problems are treated like women's mental health problems, and rather than treating them how they really want to be treated?
The mental health gap really varies because men, the way they handle their mental health is different from us. Men tend to hold back or suppress the emotions. And like us, maybe nikiwa na stress, I come run to you, and that's it. Wanaume watahold, watahold, watahold. Everything, every tiny anything, kitu kidogo kidogo tu wanajiekea, and then they will, yeah, they pile up, and then it will come to a point that they will blow up. Okay. Ndio maana unaona wengi wanaingia mali, ukiingia sasa into depression, sasa hapo inakuwa ngumu kutoka. Lakini sisi yetu ni ngumu kwa sababu we are talking, we are ranting, we are unpacking, but men don't unpack that frequently like us.
Matthew, how do you think we should be handling men when it comes to their mental health?
It's all about understanding a man. Understanding a man in ways he lives in, the burdens he carries, the calmness he is in. Because men don't really talk about their problems. They tend to be in a cocoon where they don't speak out. So I think women should carry men in a lighter way. Don't burden your man. You should always speak to your man, ask what problems he's facing, because men don't really show their weaknesses because they fear they're being labeled as weak. Yeah. So men should really not be burdened. They should be respected because they have responsibilities. You have business responsibilities, family responsibilities, and you also have your own problems of how to cope with your stresses in life. Yeah.
Do you think that women contribute to men's imbalance emotionally?
Yes, I do. Uh, in terms of maybe a woman doesn't see how a man is struggling with something, so a woman is really asking for too much. Like, I want to my nails to be made, I want my head to be made, I want clothes. You don't know how this man has been, or the financial stability of this man. So all these burdens for a man, it becomes stressful. That's a stress to a man. Yeah.
All right. Is that true? Do ladies contribute to men's mental imbalance?
Not totally. Maybe kidogo tu kwa sababu a man has stress. Akona stress za kazi, za nini, za kulipa rent. Anakuja kwa nyumba, umeanza kumrantia. You are unpacking, but yeye anaongezea yake tu. So maybe tuna contribute partially but not completely. Yeah.
Partially.
Kidogo tu.
Umeanza girl power. All right, all right. From my seat, I think it is a problem with understanding from the person. You're not everyone is the same. There's someone uh, who can absorb. There's someone who cannot. So it's basically understanding a person. But now let's take a look at a different situation now. It's okay to have problems, yes, and solving problem is what we all crave. Uh, so where exactly, because solving a problem from the source is easier than solving a problem kama isha majua. For example, I am having let me talk from a girl perspective. I'm having a problem. I'm at home. Maybe I'm married. I'm taking care of the kids. I'm worried about the kids. I'm worried about my husband. I'm worried about how are they going to school and all that. So my problem is stemming from lack of security of how I'm actually. So if I get security, I'm cool. That is from a woman's perspective. But what exactly is it from a man's perspective? Where exactly is their stress rooting from? Because we hear men don't talk about the problems. Men don't talk about what problems, where is this rooting from, and how can we solve them from the root?
Men problems comes from their maybe financial stability and maybe stresses which they get from people or from their women or the society. So the root cause is finding you as a person, as a man. First, know yourself. Know where my problem is. Try coping up with this problem because if you don't cope up with this problem, that's something that's gonna disturb you. in life. So learn first yourself, okay, and be courageous to speak to somebody. Just find the courage to speak to somebody, because if you speak to somebody, you're gonna unpack anything that's hidden in you. So first find yourself. Don't find your problems from another person. Find yourself first, solve your problem first. And if they are too strong for you to unpack, find somebody who you can trust and speak to. Go to cafes like the cafes we have. You can also get to one-on-one call with a toll number of 121. They have a toll number 1190, where you can speak freely to a person who you can see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think, Sue, is the root cause of?
You know, but for men, and like us, sisi, if I'm overwhelmed, call my therapist. We have a one-on-one with my therapist. We will talk about it and I'll feel I'm light-weighted now. But wanaume out of 10, wanaume maybe wawili wenye wanaona therapist. But unlike me, sasa mimi nitatafuta solutions pole. So maybe men should be should be talking to someone. Na kuna hiyo one-to-one organization where you can talk to anonymous person. Akujui or umjui, you talk to them free of charge. You dial 1190, you talk to them anonymously, and it's free. You're talking to certified psychologists. Yeah.
It's finding, Matthew says, you find yourself, know your own problem. Shida hazifanani. There's someone who has a problem ya pesa, kuna mwingine ako na problem ya my mom is sick, kuna mwingine ako na problem, my girlfriend is stubborn. Now that you're talking about the root cause of problems, psychologists say that this is interesting, that men fall in love with what is this hormone? The stress hormone, while ladies fall in love with dopamine. So they say that you need to, okay, it is a conversation that goes that you need to stress that man up. Is it that men really love stress, the chase, the fight, or is it something that is just put on them and they are coping with it?
I don't really think men do such things, because it's all about the mentality. When the mentality is negative, everything will be negative. So I think,
It's neither here nor there.
yeah, it's neither here nor there.
Someone told me that, okay, it's not someone told me. Men say that if you're dating someone who does not ask you for money, you'll be poor. If you're dating someone who asks you for money, you will work hard. So is it that men really love stress, or is it tunawekea?
Si hatupendi stress. No one loves stress. No one loves to be stressful. It's just maybe circumstances zinatupata. So we tend like to be more or less stressed, but we don't love stress, because no one loves to be stressed. But these are things that come by. So it's all the way how you handle those things. You are adding up. You are being added up by your person. So when you know the way to handle these things, you'll be in a better place. Yeah.
All right. So do you share the same sentiments?
Maybe energies attracts same energies. So maybe you're toxic, you attract toxic. Yeah.
So you believe in energies. If someone is toxic, definitely they will attract someone toxic.
Yeah.
All right. It's like you said, neither here nor there. It's a consequence. All right. Now, therapy has not been taken so well. This even as we bring this home, therapy has not been taken so well, especially with men, despite the fact that some say it's expensive. Expensive is relative. That one, it's another topic. So some say it's expensive. Some say sitting down and talking to someone about your problem is not going to solve the problem. And talking about things like going to the gym, things like taking your own personal initiative to like change. So from your experience, what do you think is the most effective way of dealing with the stress?
The most effective way of dealing with stress is self-care activities. You know, many people don't know how to take care of their stresses. They tend to lie on the negative aspect. Like when you have stress, you're gonna drink all day, and this stress will go. This stress won't go. So it's you're coping in it with it negatively. But when you know and realize that there are positive ways of coping up with stress, like self-care activities, taking a walk, changing the environment, talking to someone, drinking water. When you realize that there are so many things which you can do as a person to self-care yourself, this will remove all the stresses you have in life. So yeah,
I
there's so
love
many
what you said.
activities.
You're coping with it negatively. I love that because I was looking at men talking about how men are treated, and there was saying that one wolf is in light and the other wolf is in darkness. Which one will live? And someone said that the one in light, and then he was told that no, that's not the wolf that we live. The wolf that we live is the wolf that is fed. So if you're having uh, constant thoughts of negative thoughts, you're continuously thinking of negative thoughts, that is the person that we live. If you're thinking of positivity, that is the person that we live. And I love that coping with it negatively. From where you sit, what do you think is the most effective way of dealing with stress?
As I said, maybe even self care, maybe taking walks, watching your diet, doing exercises. Uh, if you love coloring, I love coloring.
Mm-hmm.
If you love coloring or drawing, you do what you love.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. Still on that, do you think that if we talk about hobbies, it's one of the ways that it's used in coping with stress, finding something that you love. If you ask, let me ask you now that you're the man on set, what's your hobby?
Singing.
Singing. Okay, so how often do you sing?
Every day, every morning, every time I
All
feel
right.
like, yeah.
So if you ask, I love that. If you ask most men about their hobbies, most of them have one or zero. They will tell you that I love playing football. If you're someone who is working, how often will you be playing football? If you're someone who goes to work daily, have bills to pay, how often will you go, and play football? If someone you like hiking, how often will you go hiking? And remember, if you do the same thing continuously, it gets boring. So I think the issue of having other things to distract your mind of what you're thinking is something that men should also embrace. What do you think about that?
There are so many ideas of which a man can do. Maybe at your own free time, you can go play PS with your fellow men. Go watch movies. Go to cinemas. Go to theaters. Like, try and get yourself in activities in your free time whenever you're not engaged with things.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about hobbies?
Finding what you love and what you love doing is the best thing kwa sababu could distract from your troubles.
Mm.
Yes, kama if you don't have a hobby, maybe you can do. Kuna wanaume wanaendanga days za wanaume, nacheza pool. Kuna wenye wanaendanga kwa uwanja kuwatch wasi wakicheza ball. It's also something I love doing, and it will distract you from stress.
All right. Do you think men are doing enough for themselves? Like you say, for women, there are also inua mwanamke mwenzako. There are so many women groups or chamas. Uh, Someone will just call you, Kilia, big girl, what is happening? They're gentle on you. But when it comes to men, I think you guys are not doing enough for yourself. Because like you said, even your friend, just checking up on your friend, hey man, how are you doing? Do you think men are doing enough for each other?
I don't think men are doing enough for each other because men don't take on each other. They don't speak out for each other, and they don't have supportive maybe groups where they can create something financially for themselves. So I don't think men do care for each other because hata ukipatana nao ni kusalimiana, they don't speak anything positive of growth of or importance to them. So I think men in a way they're not
They're not doing enough for each
they're
other.
not doing enough for each other. Unlike women, they do enough for each other. They are supportive to each other. Yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about the cafes that you hold. How do you hold them, and how effective are them, and how can someone be part of it?
Okay, we have cafes at our village in Soweto. We have two groups where we meet twice in every month, and people come and speak about their mental health. They get counseled and get referrals where they can, when their issues escalate, they can get more further help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How does someone become part of it? So,
Um, if you want to join, you can come into our cafes. There is no limitation. You just join.
mm-hmm.
Then it's a safe space. We encourage confidentiality. So anything we speak in that room, hakuna kwenda nje. I should not hear ati nani alisema it's battling some issue. No, so it's in between us. So we encourage confidentiality, and then if we are first aiders, psychologists, yani first aiders peke yake. So if the issue, you see the issue so big for you to handle, so you, you refer to someone else or to a facility near you where they have professional psychologist, ama you refer the person to, if the person is not willing to talk ile kabisa and they're battling something, so you refer them to the one-to-one sessions where they talk to anonymous person so they can let out everything they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is it only in Soweto or it's spread across?
Okay, we are still kuna Madare, there is Mukuru, and there is us. So it's something big.
All right.
Yeah, anyone can join. Any they can join.
Mm.
Yes.
From interaction, is there an age group that you see is really taking up the cafe meetings than the other group?
Um, as for our cafes, the youth are taking the mantle so much because the older generation, they don't want to join the cafes. They don't have time. But the youth, they are the most affected. So we're dealing mostly with the youth.
All right. From your interaction also, are there plans to scale up, or it's just the targeted areas? Because I'm looking at a situation here, for example, I'm from Resambo and I want to be part of the team. How do I get to be part of the team?
In future, we are planning for a scale up, but first we have to deal with the society because it's the beginning of everything. Because in the we are beginning, it's just a beginner. We have not escalated. We are just planning to escalate, but not for the meantime.
All right.
Yeah, we first want to deal with the people in the society who were never having this platform before. Yeah.
Like the people we are dealing with, if at all in the process they become the mental health champions too. So they will become like teachers of others. They will be the TOTs of others.
All right.
Yeah.
So is it an interaction that mostly, because you've said the youth, is it an interaction that mostly covers, uh, what group is it? The people who are mostly unemployed or employed?
Most of our groups, they are young mothers and young fathers, and they are unemployed.
All right.
Most are unemployed.
So that is where the problem is. The problem is unemployment.
Yeah.
All right. I had someone say that money is not everything in a relationship, but with the moment you lose it, you realize that there's nothing that can move on in that relationship. Lady and gentlemen, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. I'd love for you to give us your final remarks and what you'd like to tell someone back at home, especially the men. How can they better themselves? How can the society take care of the boy child?
Okay, maybe my take home would be talk to someone, be open, don't hold back, and do you.
Mhm.
Yes.
Do you? All right, Matthew.
What I can tell my viewers is it's okay not to be okay. Find a supportive group where you can talk to somebody. Come to our cafes, which are safe spaces. Confidentiality is created, and let's create a healthier community in our society. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll also give you a view back at home, a final take on this conversation surrounding or revolving around men's mental health and their resilience. So, for you to become a better person, you need to understand the root cause of the problem. So, you cannot solve a problem without knowing the source of the problem. The first thing is understanding yourself, knowing whether your character is as a result of trauma or you're just a strong person. Some people say they're strong, but when you look at it, really, it's as a result of trauma. When they were growing up, they were told, you have their feelings were not, taken care of. So they've grown up taking care of themselves, thinking that they're strong, but in real sense, it's just trauma reaction. So know the problem. If you're having childhood traumas, try solving them before getting into meeting someone else who has their own traumas so that you can be a better person. That has been On the Launch with Susan and Matthew, talking about mental health, especially men's mental health. Coming up next is newspaper review with our very own Bluesman Hassan, and uh, stay tuned for that discussion. And we'll be joined also by Frederick. Stay tuned for that discussion.